Hey, it's the Nerdy Sports Fan. We're giving out the last of the draft grades before we get into all of the mini camps going on around the league. And we're into the AFC North. Let's start things off with the Baltimore Ravens. And this was the first draft of Ozzie Newsome's apprentice at the helm. So let's see how he did. We got Marquise Brown with the first round draft pick at number 25. Now, Brown was in the conversation as the best receiver in this draft. There was probably 3 or 4 names in that, so him at this position was, very good. As far as schematic fit, I think it works. The Ravens are a team that is not going to attract free agent receivers. They have a young quarterback that's not exactly known for throwing the ball, and they still needed receiver talent. So in order to make this work, you draft a guy. Marquise Brown is a cousin of Antonio Brown. Not really anything familial that really matters. I mean, the guy on his own is very, very good. He's undersized, but he's got extremely good game speed. He's a much more polished route runner than pretty much every other receiver in the draft coming out. And this is exactly what Lamar Jackson needs. They got rid of Brown and Crabtree, a guy who's got very, very, very good top-end speed, and a guy who's more of a possession, shifty route runner type. So what do? They drafted the hybrid of those guys. Okay? You have a shifty route runner who's got extremely good game speed, package deal that's going to be leaned on a lot by Lamar Jackson. Now, later on, round 2, they went with, round 2, they didn't have a second round pick. Round 3, they went with Jalen Ferguson. Now, they lost their best 2 edge defenders in this offseason already. They got a good safety in free agency, but that's really it. So they needed to do some work to replace these guys up front. And Ferguson is fantastic. There was a lot of edge talent in this draft. I honestly think Ferguson would have gone much higher in other years that weren't as defense-rich. Guy's 6'5". He's got extremely good get-off on the line of scrimmage. Really rangy guy. I think he's going to step in and have an immediate impact. It might not be as big of an impact as what they're losing with Za'Darius Smith and Terrell Suggs. You can't replace both of those guys with one dude, especially not a third rounder. Because of what they lost, this guy at this position is a huge, huge boon. They're marrying up available talent with need, and that's what you want to do. It seems like the GM learned the right things from Newsome. Later on, we went again in round 3. They got Miles Boykin. Same thing as what they did with Hollywood Brown. They're not going to be able to attract free agent wide receivers right now with this offense as is. So you draft a guy, and Boykin has a very, very big catch radius. He's like 6'4". He's very tall. He's very physical, and that's another thing that Lamar Jackson needs in a target. He doesn't have to be fantastically accurate when he's throwing to a guy like Boykin that has a very big catch radius. He can just get it in the area, and Boykin, who's a physical guy and big, can go get it. And this will work in this offense. Roman, the offensive coordinator, needs tools to work with. And I guess they just felt that Crabtree and Brown weren't exactly the kind of fit that they needed, possibly trying to go a much more creative route with some more gadgety plays in order to utilize Lamar Jackson's talents, but also just open up that offense. I mean, they need people to not focus on the rushing attack because it is extremely, extremely good, but any defense in the league, if all they have to do is worry about the run, they'll be able to stop it. So this is smart on their part, getting wide receiving talent in this draft that they can use right away. Later on, Justice Hill, running back. Now, this is a run-heavy team. They've already got Gus Edwards, they've got Kenneth Dixon, and of course Lamar Jackson, I think led the team in rushing last year. And he was top 10 in the league, I want to say. So, yeah, they've got a lot of people carrying the ball. This isn't the best for Hill if he's looking to be stat guy, you know? But it's very, very good for him if he's just looking to learn and become a better pro. So this is the offense to be in if you're a running back. Yes, he's in a field that just picked up Ingram in the free agency and already has a couple of running backs that have been starters in this offense. So it's a packed backfield, but an influx of young talent is always helpful at the running back position. This probably means that Dixon is getting the axe because based off his performance last year, I don't think Edwards is if both of those guys are healthy. Later on, their next pick in the 4th round, they got Ben Powers. I think this is fantastic value. Powers, I personally had going to Houston earlier in this round in my mock. So he's good value at this position, and it's a position of need. The middle of the offensive line, yes, they were a very, very dominant run-blocking team, but it still needed a bit of help. Pressure up the middle was a problem for Lamar Jackson. It's part of the reason he was running so much. So getting a Ben Powers to put up there at a guard spot and hopefully lock that down long term is very big for a 4th round pick. I mean, this is really where a lot of teams build their offensive line, these middle rounds like this, but very good value here. So I like this draft overall. I really like the pickups of Marshall and Mack later on as well. I thought they got good value there. I give this draft an A. It worked really well. Now, they had so many losses on defense. I really would have loved to see them focus more on their defensive needs, but what they got fit their needs. And everybody they picked up was good value at the position they got them at. So again, I give Baltimore an A. I don't think it's going to make so much of a difference this year because Lamar Jackson still needs another year or so to develop. But in the future, this draft will pay big dividends.